Hey writers, we are going to be talking about characters today, and if you're looking to create or flesh out your cast of characters, you're in luck because my friend Jane from Fiction Technician and I are collabing again to bring you two different character profile templates that we use ourselves. We're going to show you how we use them, and we're giving you the exact templates so you can use them as well. We're going to have some Scrivener type ones, and then also there's a couple of those for those of you who use Word Doc or prefer Google Doc. I'll also have a version of that for you guys as well. Especially if you'll be participating in Preptober or NaNoWriMo this year, let us know that in the comments if you will be. We thought that these resources would be super helpful. So let's get into mine first, and then Jane will be sharing her template over on her channel, and that is linked down below, and Jane is in the comments right now as well. I'm just going to pull her up so you can see where she is and who she is. And we've got a bunch of other people joining us live right now. I see Leanne and Ingrid and Victoria and Danya and Candy, and I know there are a few others, William, and a bunch of you are just logging on. Cheryl, hello, hello. So we're super excited, and as I am pulling up my template to show you guys, I really would love for you to let me know what are a couple of elements you find most important to include in your character profiles, because all of us have all different versions and different ways of working, and it's always really fun to learn from each other. And so I'm sure as I share with you some things, they are going to be helpful, but then I might pull up some of your comments on the screen as well if there's some other things we should be adding. So definitely do that while I am switching over my screen. Hello. And I'm going to share my Scrivener first. So we're going to take a look at that. And as I am pulling this up, I also want to mention that Jane and I, if you missed the last collab we did a collaboration where we had templates for plotting either a novel or a serial. And I have a playlist link down below with those videos as well. And we gave you templates there as well. And we hope to do more. So if you guys really enjoy this format and you really enjoy learning, particularly about Scrivener, that's where we're like really honing in. But we have some other tips for you guys, and we'd love to share. So let us know if you're enjoying these collaborations and would love more. Yeah, Victoria, Preptober has totally just come up on us so fast, and it's not quite here yet, but it will be super soon. So yes, there will be Google Doc versions, but if you want to try Scrivener, if you didn't know, Scrivener offers I think it's 30-day free trial, and I have that link down below as well. So that's what I did. I tried it out for 30 days and watched some tutorials, and I can't go back. I really can't. So it's really great. So let's get into this. I'm going to pull this up full screen so you guys can see as much of it as possible. And what I'm going to do first is going to run through the basic things that I have in my profile that I found really helpful. And I have two different versions, and I'm going to show you how I use them to its fullest potential. Okay. I'm going to try to look at comments as well to make sure I don't miss any questions. So character profiles. So I have the name up at the top here, and you can see if you're not used to Scrivener, they have everything organized over here, and you can go to characters and everything will be organized here. And then under the drop down, so you can do that, under the drop down, I have two different versions. So the first version is just all the information in one sheet. But before I go into the different parts of it, what I wanted to show you is if I go to the eye up here in the corner, and I go to the comments tab, what I've done is I've highlighted the headers with different comments so that when I click them, it sort of acts as a navigation pane. And I don't know about you guys, but when I create character profiles, they can just get so freakishly long and hard to find things that I find it really helpful to have some kind of navigation. So I've sort of used a hack of using the comments to get down to all the different parts. So hopefully you guys find that as a helpful hack if you use Scrivener. And I'll show you how you can also do something similar in a Word Doc or Google Doc closer to the end. So let's talk about all the different things that I include in my character profile. And if you've never created these before, I really encourage you to sort of keep it as simple as possible when you're just planning and get like a lot of the basics. And then as you write and sort of explore the story, you can always add more. So I've added a little bit more to these profiles than I usually write down when I'm first plotting my characters, but I wanted to flesh it out a little bit. And then you can always take some out or add more detail later. So I would put my character name here, or if I just have their role, if I don't have a name for them yet, sometimes I put that there as a placeholder, but I always try to describe what their story role is, if they're the main character, the side character, the love interest, the villain, whatever function they're playing in the story. Find that very helpful. This is a one-line summary, so after I sort of go through all of these tidbits, I try to summarize a character in one line. Just as I'm going through all my characters, I can like sort of see them at a glance, and the most important things right at the top. And when I go to the corkboard view, and I'm looking at the character section, then I can see all of the main things up top here. So I really like that in Scrivener, that you can see everything at a glance. So I like that one line summary. And then if I'm just brainstorming them at this point, I will also brainstorm other name ideas as I'm thinking of them or get suggestions. And then I delete this once I have my final name. So that's just some stuff, some basics at the top. But then other basics, I usually, a lot of my characters are inspired by like a multitude of other characters that I've seen, whether it's movies or TV shows or whatever. And so I like to sort of put links to different inspiration or just names. And then I start to think through, this is not necessarily in order of what I plot, but just in the basics, I like to include some about their personality. I write a lot of fantasy, so skills or magic or weapons or just items. So even if you're writing contemporary, items or skills or strengths might be something you want to put in here. And then physical appearance. And you might just want to write a paragraph, short paragraph, or you can just put, you know, your detail here. And then sometimes, you know, you can just use some bullet points instead. So whatever is most helpful for you, but I like the basics. And then we get into backstory. And sometimes I'll actually start here. I'll start with their goals and their misbelief and all of this kind of stuff that really makes like the meat of the character. And so in their backstory, I like to sort of think about what is the lie that they're believing. This is mostly definitely for the main character. You might not always have this for every side character if they don't have an arc through the story, but I like to brainstorm what their lie or misbelief is, what the truth or theme is that they're going to learn through the story, which is the opposite of their misbelief. So if you know what truth you want them to learn, then you can sort of backwards engineer that to figure out the lie. Or if you know the lie that they're believing, the misbelief, then you can just flip it on its head and say, okay, they're going to learn this truth now. And then from there, I'll think through, okay, how did this lie or this misbelief, what was the origin? What was the origin of the lie, the wound? And you know, I think there's so many details that you can put into a character profile to really flesh them out. You can go into a ton of their backstory and details that don't have to do with their wound or origin. But after reading a few books, one being Wired for Story, by Lisa Cron, her main goal when she was creating her character arcs was to really focus in on that lie, that truth, and then how the backstory sort of brought that about and what kind of past they're going to have to overcome in order to transform, right? Because every character's arc is about transformation. So that sort of is a brainstorming section, and then ultimately you could put the final details in there of their backstory that will then lead into their goals. I'm just going to check the comments real fast because I know I'm talking about a lot. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. But ooh, I see some good comments here. I'm going to pull up. Let's see. Ingrid says, for me, worldview is super helpful. So I asked earlier, you guys, what some things you found really helpful to put in the character profile. So here's some additional things. So worldview could be cynical, optimistic, hopeful, hopeless. Also what the character wants others to think of them, not just what they want to be themselves. I really like that. Leanne says, understanding how a character's history shapes their present personality and how they interact with different people. So that would definitely fit under backstory. Love it. Victoria says, I try to include in my character profile what the character's misbelief is. Great. About themselves, the world. It helps me to give the character better inner conflict. Exactly. I am with you. We're jiving. Let's see. Ingrid also writes mysteries and thrillers. I love to give every character secrets that they need to keep from others. Need to sprinkle those red herrings for who the murderer might be. Yes. So it could also depend on genre. You could add a bunch of different things in here. Let's see. And it also makes the characters very human. Definitely. Let's see. Leanne says, I think an important point to consider is the character's education versus their intelligence. Those two are not the same thing. Ooh, I like that. We're getting really nitty gritty. I do that too, Ingrid. I have to keep a track of who knows what for my thrillers. Oh, I love that. You guys should definitely connect if you haven't already. Environment is helpful. Definitely. Cool. So I love all of these. I'll just continue on from backstory, but another thing I like to include is goals. And so this sort of plays off the backstory, but usually, and you can, if you've read Save the Cat or Save the Cat Writes a Novel, those books are really, really helpful, and they talk both about the external story or the external goal or A story, and then the inner story, the inner need or the B story. And so I've sort of separated this into things that you can fill out, where the external goal means your character wants X goal. It's external, it's separate from them because of an X motivation. But they must take specific action to achieve their goal. So you would fill out the specific actions, or else stakes will happen, or else like some kind of terrible thing will happen. You can also include like a time sensitive kind of thing here as well. That can definitely raise the stakes. But obstacles will get in the way. So then you can list out and brainstorm what kind of obstacles would get in the way. And these are all things that could then influence your plotting, influence what kind of things you want to include in the story. But then there's also a B story happening. So I like to include the inner story. So even though the character wants X goal, what they truly need is X. And so that ties back again to their lie and truth up here. And then they will realize in learning the truth or theme, X, so you'll put the lesson or whatever kind of transformation they're going through. And these are the obstacles, the inner obstacles to learning this, or the external obstacles that are then affecting them internally. So that, I just like a lot of verbiage around that. And I feel like those kind of prompts help me to then write out what each of those are. And then I really love sort of combining all of that after I've brainstormed into an arc summary. So this is sort of like the prompt up here, and then you fill in what you actually want for your character below. So character is a trait. So like one of my main characters is a rebellious fairy. So, you know, Quinn is a rebellious fairy who wants X, you know, so then you would put their goal because of motivation or specific problems that maybe arise in the beginning of the story. Then you would write, they think this will bring happiness or fix problems because of backstory event or misbelief. And you'll see all of these things we've already brainstormed up here. Then character takes specific action, or else stakes will happen, but obstacles start happening too. So this is sort of a try-fail cycle where you can start brainstorming, okay, they start taking the specific action or else this stake will happen, but these obstacles keep getting in the way. And then that happens usually a couple times throughout the story. So you can start brainstorming what kind of things, what kind of rocks you're going to throw at your character who's up in a tree to make it really hard for them to accomplish their goal. Finally, but when they finally learn the truth or theme and take specific action, it leads to a victory and a change. Or if you don't want a happy ending, it leads to a defeat, possibly with a lesson, but some of them don't have that. So it's really up to you, but I really like this framework because then I sort of have all of these kind of details in a readable kind of summary kind of way. So does that all make sense? Let me know, because I know I went through that really fast, and then I want to show you a couple other things before we wrap up and I show you the version in a Google Doc, Word doc. Let's see. Vanessa says, I just started learning about the Enneagram and it's super helpful. One of my antagonists is a 3 and her core fear plays a huge role in everything she's doing. Yes. And I forgot to mention that I did have a note about it, but when you get to the personality arena, I love playing around either with Enneagram or Myers-Briggs or whatever kind of personality tests you might want to take for your character or research you want to do, and including that here would be awesome. Love that, Vanessa. Let's see. Jane says, I like the way you've organized the summary, very clarifying. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm sure there's better ways to do it, but that's the best way I could think of right now. This is so in-depth. It's really amazing how you structure it so well. Oh, I'm so glad. I hope you guys find it super, super helpful. The last things I want to share with you guys that I found really helpful to note are key relationships. And I have a certain way of, you can actually link different files in Scrivener to each other. So I'm going to show you that in a second, where I could type in like this character's brother or mother or sister or friend or love interest, and then link it so it goes directly to that other character's profile if I ever want to reference it really quickly, and I don't have to like do a crazy search in here to find it if you end up having like tons and tons of characters. I'll get there in a second. The other thing I wanted to say is I always have like in my brain that's like other notes, ideas, or questions I might want to note for myself, so I just have an extra catch-all for that kind of area. And then in this section, I love including some kind of written like journal entry, a letter that the character writes, or an interview that I do with the character. Usually I lean towards the journal entry or letter form, and I'm just free writing in their voice, putting them in a certain situation, or I'm writing from their perspective like right before the story is going to start, or during a specific scene that's going to be really crucial for them. And so this is sort of my pantsing. I do a lot of plotting, but I find that some pantsing in the beginning is definitely really helpful for me, and writing in that character's voice, whether it's the main character or the side character, whoever it is, that has been really, really helpful for me. So I wanted to include that too, so you guys could see that. So that is the overall character profile that I create, but I do have, sorry, I need some water just for a second. Woo! I do have one more version I wanted to share with you. So this is the same character profile. So you can see I clicked character bio 2, but when I'm not looking at just one text here, but I'm looking at all of the subcategories here, I can click this. I hope my cursor is showing up. This up here for this different view where it sort of combines the main category and then the subtext down here. And all of a sudden, like I had in this one, where I could click in the comments and then get to the different sections, I also could format it like this, where I now just click the different subsections and I can only see that section. Sometimes as I'm creating my character bios, they can get so long. And sometimes I just want to see one section at a time, or what I really like too is you can take like the backstory section and then split your screen and compare it to a different character's backstory so that you can make sure that they are lining up. So let me show you a couple of things. I pulled up some information on one of my favorite books, my favorite YA fantasy books, Children of Blood and Bone. And I just took some basic information from some fan sites just so I didn't have to create it from scratch, so I could show you guys how this could work in action. So if I click on Zelly, and I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, by the way. Do you ever get, you're reading a book and you're so stuck in how you presenting or how you are reading it in your mind that you learn how it's supposed to be pronounced and you're like, shoot, that wasn't how I was pronouncing it, but now it's stuck in my head. So let's see here. Okay, so then we've got, I think it's Zaylee actually. And so you can see I filled out some of this here. And if I go and click so I can see everything, you can see how it all works. And so you can see here too, I would put the Enneagram number maybe here for personality, and I have some details. I didn't fill everything out, but what I want to show you with the key relationships is now I can go to her brother's profile very easily, and all of a sudden I am looking at both of them at once, or I can reference his information very easily. So all you do if you want to link something is you highlight a word and then you right click, and you might not be able to see my pop-up here, but you go to link to document, and then you can pick the document you want it to link to, and it becomes an internal link within Scrivener, which is really awesome. So I really love this. And then again, like I was saying before, if I wanted to go to Zaylee's backstory and then to Zane's backstory, and I wanted to make sure that they lined up, I could split the screen and sort of go over the details together really simply. So those are two different ways that you can use the two different character bios or profiles that I've created for you guys. And in a little bit, I'm going to tell you how you can download them for yourself, but I am going to check the comments just to make sure there weren't any questions as I was going through this. Let's see. Victoria, let's see. Cheryl says, I'm loving this, yay! How do you link it? Okay, so I just showed that on screen. Let me know if that was confusing or if it made sense. Love the idea of a journal entry. Such a great way to figure out your character's voice. Yes, it was so helpful. I did that especially for Sisters of the Shadowwood, and got into the handmaiden's head and all of them, and it was just so helpful. In their words would be super helpful to make sure each character has a distinct voice. Exactly. Scrivener seems somewhat similar to a note-taking app called Notion. Ooh, I'm gonna have to write that down and check it out. So bad at doing stuff like that to get to know the character's voice, too eager to begin the story, but I really like the journal entry method. And that's the thing where I would always get stuck with an interview as well, Ingrid, but I really like just the free journaling, or the free like writing, the character writing a letter to a different character in the book. So yes, I really like version 2 as well. That's the one I use most. That happens to me all the time. I was reading a book for a book club type event and heard everyone pronouncing the main character's name way differently than I had read it. Yeah, it happens. So forgive me if I mispronounced it. Okay, let me just check, because we do have to wrap up soon so we can go to Jane's video. Let me just make sure that I mentioned everything I wanted to mention. Okay, I think I did. All right, so let me now pull you out of here, and I'm going to show you, nope, here we go. I'm going to show you, for all of you that don't have Scrivener or don't want to try the free trial, I do have a application open somewhere. Hold on, bear with me. All right, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to also be giving you guys a Google Doc that you can download. You can either use in Google Docs or you can download as, here we go, as a Word doc if you would like. So I'm going to tell you how you can get this very shortly. But again, all you would do is use this or copy this however many times you want for each character. And then in the navigation pane, each header is clickable. So you can actually get down to all the different sections as well very easily. And you could copy this document for each individual character. You could put all the characters by copying and pasting this whole section down below to make different characters, and then it would be separated by character name. But yeah, so that is another thing that is available to you as well. Cool. Okay, so now let me tell you how you can actually get the templates, because I know you're probably all like, okay, I'm ready. Tell me how to get the templates. They are free. I'll just say that right off the bat. I'm trying to pull up the right thing here. I hope this is the right one. I think it is. Yes. Okay. So all of my templates are available on my website at this address on my members page. And all you have to do is sign up for my newsletter, and you get a bunch of other templates, including the plotting templates that Jane and I put together as well for you guys last time. So a lot of cool stuff. I really hope this stuff is helpful for you guys. Also, again, I've put the free trial for Scrivener down below. And before I shoot you guys off to Jane's channel, I just wanted to say real quick that there's also a really incredible free virtual retreat for writers happening this weekend. And I'll be hosting a workshop on author websites and newsletters on Sunday if you'd like to join me. But there are going to be a slew of other workshops as well, writing sprints, panels, all throughout the weekend. The link to more details is in the description below. And because this workshop will be my video for next week, we will not be meeting here our normal time next Wednesday. And because this is the third video in the month, I usually do 4 videos a month, we will actually be back on our regular Wednesday live stream schedule on September 30th for our monthly Plan With Me. And boy, do I have so many exciting things to tell you guys once we are back to our normal schedule, because there's a lot of things that I'm going to start revealing to patrons very, very shortly. But yeah, I'm really excited to start telling you guys some things. Ooh, hold on. And by the way, I wanted to say a huge thank you to my patrons for voting for these kinds of videos and supporting them over on Patreon. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Besides, if you have any additional questions or you want me to pop in to Scrivener, I do have about a few minutes before we go over to Jane's channel, but I'd love to answer any questions you guys have, or if you have anything else that you'd like to share about your own character profiles that you guys also include. This is a sharing space that we all help each other again. So let's see. Thank you for showing how to link. Could I link to a character bio within a chapter too? Yes, you can. That's what I love about Scrivener too. Whether you are in the manuscript, you are writing, you can, or you're in a profile or wherever, all you have to do is highlight the text, and then there's an option in that drop down that says link to document, and then you just pick whatever document in the Scrivener document. So yes, and I also wanted to say that once you go to download the Scrivener file, there is a version, Jane and I figured this out since last time, there is a version available for if you have Scrivener 2. I'm pretty sure it works for Scrivener 1 as well, if you guys are on Windows and have earlier versions, and there's also a version for Scrivener 3. And what you would do is download that document. I have all the instructions on my members page. And once it's downloaded, you'll save it as a template, and you can use that template to also start writing your manuscript if you want. And you can also copy those pages into other Scrivener documents if you already have a document going and you just want to use these character bios in your current Scrivener project. So I hope that makes sense. Let's see, Mary. Oh my gosh, that is this weekend. I can't wait. Yes. So the AUTHORTUBE virtual retreat is going to be so much fun. And there are so many things happening. You guys, all the details are linked down below. There's a whole schedule. So you can plan, if you can't make all of them, you can plan the ones you really want to be at. Again, my workshop is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to come hang out with me and talk about websites and newsletters and all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, I don't see any additional questions coming in. So I think what I'm going to do is wrap up here. And oh, and Morgan's doing a workshop. No, don't be scared. You're going to be fabulous. I'm so excited for you. Let me know what time and what day, because I haven't looked at the whole schedule yet, because I'd love to try to be there. But yeah, that's going to be so much fun. So I'm going to wrap up here so we can make sure we get to Jane's video. She has, we all have some similar things in our character profiles, but she has her own way of organizing things. And if you're using Scrivener, she has her own hacks and tips for that as well, which I'm excited to implement to some of mine after this too. So I'm going to close it up here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Again, Jane's link is linked down below, so you can pop over there, and I will be in the premiere comments with you guys chatting there too. Awesome. You guys are great. We'll see you over at Jane's channel. Bye.